Hello everyone. Yes, it's me here again. It's Fridays with Father, and today is Friday, June the 11th. And as you can tell, I'm still in Wales. I'm sat in my parents' kitchen with a freshly made cup of tea. It's probably about my sixth cup today so far. Um, so get in there. We'll get in there. And it's nice to be home. Um, and some people in Schaumburg have sent me some well wishes and also wishes to my parents, and we're all very grateful that you keep us in mind and keep us in prayer. And it's nice being home. It's really nice just being here with mum and dad. Um, as I said to you, I think before, the hoops that you have to jump through to actually get home are quite extensive. So I am here isolating with my family, so I can't really go out, not until Saturday, I think, which is okay. I'm spending a lot of time with my mum and dad, eating, drinking, chatting, reminiscing, sort of going through some things, old stuff of mine, old belongings of mine, throwing stuff out. It's a good opportunity to do some spring cleaning, and of course I'm just having a nice old time. The weather is reasonable. At the moment it's about 70 degrees outside, but it's kind of cloudy and it looks like it might rain, but we can't complain because it hasn't rained too much since I've come back. In terms of food, because I know you always ask me about food and stuff like that. I've eaten some of my favourite things. I've had fish and chips at least once, and I'll probably be having fish and chips again soon. I think I may have told you before that fish and chips is very common over here, but it's not the kind of thing that you would make in your home. And sometimes you might eat it in a restaurant, but the most common place for getting hold of fish and chips is a fish and chip shop, because they make the best fish and chips. And it costs about $10, I would say, for a large piece of battered cod or battered hake, and a huge amount of chips, which are not quite French fries. They're kind of a fatter kind of fried potato, and they're very, very delicious. So anyway, I had that one night when my cousins came over, and since then I've been eating all the other things that I like to eat. I like British sausages, which are like a less meaty version of a bratwurst. They have breadcrumbs in them, so they're kind of lighter than a brat. So I've had sausages with onion gravy, which was very delicious and tasty. And then on Sunday I had roast lamb with vegetables and gravy and mint sauce. That's the important ingredient, the mint sauce. That was a nice kind of Sunday roast, as we would call it, a roast lamb with mint sauce. Really nice. And tonight for my dinner, I'm having cottage pie, which is similar to a shepherd's pie, but it's made with beef. But it's basically ground beef in a gravy with some vegetables, maybe, on the bottom, and on the top is like mashed potatoes, and you put it in the oven, and it's really delicious, kind of comfort food. These are the kind of things I like to eat, especially when I'm with my parents, because it has the taste of home, So I'm sat here around in the house and not doing much exercise, so I'm probably gaining a few pounds, but hey, it's worth it because I've been away for so long, so it's just nice to be with them. And I just thought I'd show you a couple of the little delicacies that I will be eating. Whenever I come to see my family, whenever I come to my country, I have a list of different things that I need to eat, things which I ordinarily cannot get in Chicago, or it doesn't taste the same. So I've been going through different things that I like to eat. And one would be, a very common one would be Welsh cakes. This is a Welsh cake. It's very simple. It's made with flour and maybe butter or margarine, or traditionally I think it would have a certain amount of lard. I'm not sure if many people make them with lard these days. and then inside there are currants or some form of dried fruit, but traditionally it's currants, and these are like cooked on a griddle, and they come usually topped with some what's the word? What we call castor sugar. Over in America, we'd call that like baking sugar, a finer sugar than regular sugar. Anyway, that's a Welsh cake, and it's it's a simple delicacy, but it goes nice with a cup of tea. A cup of tea. So I'll have one of those later. I'm not going to eat while I'm on the camera because that looks a bit gross. It looks like it's feeding time at the zoo. And the other thing I wanted to show you, which is like a kind of slightly old-fashioned cake, but I always look for one when I come home if I can find one. And my father managed to get some today, and this is what they call a custard slice. Okay, a custard slice, and it is like 2 pieces of pastry, if you like a mille-feuille kind of pastry, or a flaky kind of pastry on top and bottom, and in between is very thick, what we call custard, which in America we might call vanilla pudding, similar but creamier, and it's thick, and it goes in between, and then on top of the top slice of pastry is a frosting, like a basic white icing, which is a bit sticky, and that adds like the sweet component, because the custard itself is not that sweet really. It's just kind of a bit gooey and delicious and nice. and I just gave my dad one of these to have with a cup of tea, and I said, would he like a fork? He said, no, I don't eat them that way. He said, what I do is I take the top off and I eat the top first, and then I eat the rest, because if you eat it like it's a sandwich, then the custard goes everywhere. So there you are. People have tricks and tips on how to eat a custard slice. But this is kind of like an old-fashioned kind of cake that you wouldn't find everywhere, but they still exist in various places. So anyway, 2 little kind of things that I'm gorging myself on while I'm here in Cardiff. Having said that, the other thing I wanted to mention is, as I did say earlier, that I'm going through a lot of my old stuff. I mean, I don't have much stuff here left over, but there are bits, I suppose, piled away in the attic, and so I've been helping my mother go through all of those things and tossing some things. And it's a bit like, going down memory lane, and you tend to sort of start to get a bit nostalgic, and you think, life goes very fast, doesn't it really? And it only seems like yesterday since I was doing this or doing that. And I've been going through photographs from my school days, from my old, family albums when we were kids, and then seminary photographs, and then, sort of previous parishes that I was involved in here in Wales before I moved to Chicago. So it's been a very lovely kind of like reconnecting for me emotionally with those parts of my life. And it just makes you realize that there's a lot that we experience in life, and we forget quite a lot of it really. And things like photos, pictures, they tend to help us jog our memory. They jog our memory. So I've been actually going through the pictures, and then with my phone taking pictures of the pictures, and then sending some to friends via text or messenger. And it's been kind of nice, almost like reconnecting with people from my past, who in some ways are still very much part of my present. And I just realized as I was going through this that most of the people in my life, in some ways, are all connected with faith, with the church. And in some ways that would seem obvious because, all of my life has been devoted to working in the church and being part of it. But all the different relationships, down the years are all in some ways connected with celebrations of faith in one way or on the other. I've seen pictures of, weddings and, my ordination pictures and then baptisms and other family celebrations. And they've all taken place, within, if you like, the body of the church. And I take it all for granted, really. And as I think about, this coming Sunday, the gospel, which is about the mustard seed, how things kind of grow in your life, when you're not looking really. And I look back at the relationships in my life, and some people who are more present in my life now than they were, than they were then, or vice versa. All of it, I think, is expression of faith and the work of prayer, sort of very much active in my life and in the life of the church. And so things just, when you're engaged in prayer, when you're engaged in the work of the church, serving in the best way you know how, even though it's imperfect, things happen, things grow. And I was reconnected last night with somebody I was in seminary with who was who didn't go on to be ordained. And I connected with him just through a picture I'd sent him, and it was just like I was with him yesterday, really. And I kind of know that those bonds, they run deep, those connections run deep, and I would be happy to see him tomorrow and reconnect in a similar way. And what binds us together, are the ties of faith, and it's Jesus himself is the agent of all that. So everything I have in my life, to where I am right now, having this very special moment, is really a Jesus, sort of watering that mustard seed of faith, which is growing and growing and growing. And we can look at our own lives in that way, that faith grows when we're getting on with life. The church in the similar way. It grows and grows, and we're just getting on with doing what we're called to do. So I think it's refreshing, and to sort of take time to look at those pictures from the past and reconnect when you can, because it reminds you just how, in some ways, active the Holy Spirit is in our lives, more than we give God credit for, So maybe it's a time to take a moment to say thanks for the work of the Spirit in our lives. Certainly, I know in my life I'm very grateful, but time for us all to do the same. On that note, I just want to touch briefly on, the Jubilee of our parish, which it takes place next year. It's the 50th anniversary of the Church of the Holy Spirit. We're still a fairly young parish, but it's a milestone celebration we all look forward to celebrating. And in some ways, those preparations begin now. Before I left to come here, I did set up a committee to address the whole Jubilee and how we would celebrate and to start planning. And I know they've met once, and when I get back, I'll look forward to seeing where they are with everything. But to let you know that the next year, it's a big year for our parish, and it's a great time for renewal. And for us to be praying that the Spirit, which has been such a life-giving force for every one of us, but especially for the parish, will renew us all once again and show us new paths to trod. Okay, so that's that. And the other thing I was going to mention was the car wash. Now, I wasn't there, and I wish I was there. But I hear it was a wonderful success, and I gather that almost $5,000 have been raised, which I think, if I'm not wrong, I think that would actually cover the cost to send 16 of our young people to the youth conference in November. So first of all, just thank you to everyone for your support and for really sort of being so generous in supporting our young people. It's a tremendous sign of the church and the life of the Spirit at work, but it gives us hope, when we see young people trying to do their best, trying to follow Jesus and wanting to learn and wanting to be better and wanting to grow, and if we can support them in any way, then we should. And we are, and you have, and you did, and so thank you for everything you did for the car wash. So that's the one thing I wanted to say. And then secondly, I know that Maria still has a bunch of those parish masks, in various colours. And fairly soon, I think that we will be letting go of masks. I'm not saying definitely yes or no, but we know that in our country, little by little, the masks are being let go of. But so I just wanted to say to you that this is a good opportunity for you to buy one. Yes, because as a souvenir from the pandemic. Now, maybe we don't want to be reminded of the horrible times that we've had, but I think when we look back, in a couple of years' time, when we're no longer with masks, please God, we will look back with a certain nostalgia, I think, really, and to have a souvenir mask would be a good thing to do. So if you don't have one, Maria is selling them at all of the masses this coming weekend, $10 each. All right. So there we are. That's Fridays with Father for this week. This time next week, I think I'll be back in Chicago and recording freely, but then I won't have the joy of Welsh cakes and custard slices and pasties and pork pies and cheese and onion crisps and all the other things that I intend to eat before then. So I need to get busy and I need to get busy and start eating the things I said I would eat. And right now, once I sign off from here, I'm gonna down this rather wonderful, delicious custard slice. I wish you could be here with me to enjoy it, but who knows, one of these days, maybe we'll have a pilgrimage to Wales and we will consume all these wonderful delights on the way, right? Anyway, thanks for being with us. Thanks for being a part of Church of the Holy Spirit and tuning in. And I'll be seeing you soon. In the meantime, be joyful and keep the faith. Ta-ta. Bye.